Hello team, welcome back to the channel. If you've watched previously, thanks for coming back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark. I've got a duathlon channel. I'm an ex-triathlete, but for this period of training at the moment, I'm focusing on some running. So welcome to this key workout. Yes, my training kind of revolves around key workouts and then try and get recovery in between those key workouts. I'm quite old, so I need the recovery. Right, a bit more context then. I'm resetting my training. I'm an 80s runner, my history, and I've been training like I'm in the 80s. I've been mashing myself, feeling good about the session I've done, hit some good numbers, and then spent a week recovering and gradually feeling more and more down because I can't train. So I'm trying this Norwegian method that's floating around everywhere now, and I think it might suit me because it's based on not mashing yourself so much that you struggle to recover. It's about accumulating load, focusing on recovery, and being quite controlled in the paces that you hit with the sub threshold. So I'm not going to go through what Norwegian method is and anything like that. There's loads of stuff out there and I'm no expert. I don't feel qualified to explain it even, but I am on a voyage of discovery. So today I'm trying to find out what my threshold and sub-threshold paces are. And to do that, to help me, I bought a book. This book, to be precise. Yes, the Bible for the Norwegian Method by Marius Bakken. There's loads of context and info out there on that, but he kind of not pioneered it, but formalised it, if you like, way back when, before Ingebrigtsen made it a bit more kind of public. And yeah, it's interesting. So as I said, I'm trying to find out my zones, if you like, and there's a number of methods to do that. Ideally you need a lactate meter so you can test your lactates in the strips and prick a blood and find out what your lactate readings are to find out what your threshold lines are, but I haven't got one of those. In the book it describes a number of methods how to do it. So VDOT, which is basically take a recent race, take a percentage of your sweet spot, find your threshold, dial it back a bit to find your sub threshold, and don't go over that pace. It's all about paces, but obviously conditions, how your body feels and all that kind of stuff means that you can't just have pace as a guide to find your levels. The other method is heart rate, so kind of dialing into that. And the other one is, believe it or not, it's a talk test, which runners will know. You know, you can kind of gauge what effort you're at by how fluent you can talk. Can you string together a whole sentence quite fine? Can you just speak in odd words, which you're working a bit harder, etc, etc. So if you haven't got a lactate meter, the best way to do it is to use as many other measures as you can, and then to find that sweet spot of threshold, sub-threshold. It's quite important that you don't bust it, so err on the side of caution, and if you're not quite sure, go on the lower side rather than the higher side. Do I sound like an expert? I'm not. Right, a bit more context. I am experiencing, shall we say, maybe some health problems. So I've had a number of blood tests, I've had a CT scan, waiting for those tests and everything to come together to see if there is actually anything wrong, or if I'm just getting old and I'm, you know, just slow and creaky. So I've got to be aware of that when I'm trying to measure what my threshold and sub-threshold levels are. But I'm ploughing on with it. I've got a race actually on Wednesday, it's Sunday today, a 10k, and then a couple of weeks from now I've got the mid-Cheshire 5k. So while I'm not feeling A1, it's probably a good time to do this because it means I'm scaling back my normal full bore thrash myself training. So what levels have I found so far then? Before I get out on the road, I'm just warming up on the bike at the moment. So I've got it all written down because my old brain can't remember it. Heart rate wise, I'm looking at not busting about 154 beats. You know, that's good to go. Under that is sub threshold. If I go above that, I'm leaching into threshold. Air of caution, I'll probably dial that back a bit. But if I link that to how I feel with the talk test, when I did it on the treadmill the other day, I hit that kind of 150, 152 heart rate, and the torque test was way too hard, i.e. I was feeling too tired. I think the legs were feeling crappy as well, so I think it might have been a bit of an off day. Had a lot of those lately, so got to be mindful. And the paces I hit for that heart rate were way slower than should be indicated on the VDOT measure. So the VDOT measure says I should be around, I don't know, 4 minutes per K for a sub threshold of, I don't know, around 4 minute reps, shall we say. And then if I go longer reps, 10 to 12 minutes, I should be sort of between 406 and 414 per K. Now I know the way I've been feeling lately, if I run at those paces and just blindly force to that pace, the feelings are not good. So it should be a sweet spot feeling, uncomfortably comfortable kind of feeling. And I know what that feels like, especially because of all the cycling I've done. Now, the VDOT measure and the heart rate measure don't match, so I need to find a balance, don't I? And I know that sometimes the treadmill is different from outside, so today I'm going outside. It's a bit long-winded, sorry about this. So I've got another measure that I made on heart rate and just a percentage of heart rate from previous races and hard training, and my sub-threshold paces come out quite a bit slower. So maybe I'll work to that. So that is 3 minute, 4 minute paces around 406 to 413. 5-6 minute is about 413 to 419 per K. Then the longer reps are 420 to 427 per K, which is in my head a bit more doable the way I feel at the moment. So I'm on a journey to find out what pace I should be running, because for this method, this Norwegian method to work, you need to have the right paces or it's not going to work. So I'm not buying a lactate meter. So what am I doing today then? A long-winded way of getting to this point. Because I've got a race on Wednesday evening, and because I'm not feeling A1 and recovering really slowly anyway, I'm not going to do a full bore session today. I'm going to do a tester. So I'm going to do easy warm-up and then get to a nice stretch of path I can train out without getting interrupted. I'm going to do a short rep of around 3 minutes, a middle rep of around 6 minutes, and then a longer rep, 10 to 12 minutes. Just one rep of each sort of division of length of reps that I'll use for this Norwegian method, and see how my heart rate and pace measures up. Because I want to see if I'm running at a heart rate outside, maxing out at maybe 150, 152, how I feel, how I talk, and what pace am I running. See how that compares to the session I did on the treadmill the other day, which was 4 minute effort, and I was struggling around 428 per K pace. My perception is, as an 18-20 5K runner this year, pace should be quite a bit quicker. But it's about how you feel. You can't be led by numbers. It's about the body. We're not robots, are we? And the other thing I need to remember, I know that I race far quicker than I train. I just always have done. I think it's just the ability, once I get a number on my back, to hurt myself like crazy. And it's just not the same in training. So in training, I just need to use the numbers, use the heart rate, use all the methods of measuring, pull them together and see the middle ground, what's going to be best for me, with an air on the side of caution to avoid the overtraining, especially while I'm finding out if there's something wrong with me or not health-wise. Okay, man, that's a long-winded explanation, isn't it? Let's finish this warm-up, get out, I'll take you with me, see what the numbers look like. Just 3 reps, a shorter one, a middle one and a longer one, and see how that brings it back together, if I can get a further gauge on what levels I should be training at for key workouts. Right, let's get going. Right, we're on the easy run now as a warm up for this session. A couple of extra points I wanted to bring out is the fact that this Norwegian method, the easy runs really need to be easy. The 70% of heart rate max is the top end, not a target. And I think I've been guilty of doing what I perceive to be easy sessions not easy enough in my general training. And the other bit is injuries. I'm fighting off Achilles niggles for the last 18 months, so maybe dialing back the intensity and the hard fast running would be really good for my Achilles. Right, let's get this warm up done. Right, warm up done. Legs feeling the way they've felt for the last few weeks. utterly disastrous. Right, try not to whinge anymore. So I'm going to flip this round then. I'm going to do just 3 reps, 1 at each kind of distance. So I'll do the middle kind, so 6-minute rep first, then I'll do a 3-minute, and then I think I'll do a 9-minute. That'll make sense, wouldn't it, to finish with. Perceived kind of effort, heart rate monitored, and then aim for the pace somewhere that the V-dot mentioned. So for the 6-minute rep, I'm going to be around 4:05 pace. I'll see how that feels. Test and adjust during the run. Okay, let's get it going. Six minutes done. So I think it's about 4:03 pace, which is spot on according to the V-dot. Heart rate was, I think, maxing out about 151 over the last 2 minutes, which is where you need to measure it from, because it takes a while for your heart rate to baseline. Perceived effort, yeah, about right. Maybe just on the upper end of the torque variable check, but that's probably, yeah, quite good feeling. The legs weren't great, but I think that's just to do with how I am at the moment. Heart rate and pace, yeah, I could ease it back a bit, I think. So 3 minutes next. Now on these shorter reps with the Norwegian methods, you can go a bit faster because it's such a short rep, but not massively. So yeah, I should be around 4 minutes per K according to the V-dot, but I can stray into like 3:57, something like that. Right, so I'm taking a minute after this, or 90 seconds, probably 75 seconds actually, because I waffled on. Let's see what a 3-minute comes out like. This isn't totally flat, by the way, so do need to be mindful of that. Three-minute effort, heart rate max at 152, I think. Pace 3:54. So with the strict zones, even though I don't know precisely what they are, that's probably too fast. Probably a bit warmed up after the first one, blowing the cobwebs away with a 6-minute rep, and felt a bit smoother on that one. About 9 minute now, and somewhere between, I don't know, 4:14 and 4:18 if I'm erring on the side of caution. So this should feel a bit more cruisy. Right, let's go. So heart rate just hit 150 and the pace is 4 minutes 15. So looking good, and I can talk. Pace 4:12, dialing it back. This is unusual being so controlled. 6 minutes in, 4:15 pace, and this just feels so much more relaxed than the paces I hit on the treadmill the other day. I was struggling at 4:28. Maybe my treadmill needs calibrating, I don't know. It's just so different. 9-minute rep done. Now that definitely felt the most comfortable. I think it's a combination of being warmed up a bit. The fact I've done the faster reps first kind of calibrated that to be really easy. It's good. I'm perplexed though with the difference of sensations and pace on the treadmill and what it feels like, sensations out running outside. This is a lot more aligned with the V-dot app that I went into, sweetspot.run, and calculating via the methods in the book. I kind of verifying how I feel with the talking. Should be able to talk in sort of short sentences, which was about right. On the treadmill I was way beyond that. You know, I could say a few words and I was puffing and panting at 4:28 pace. The legs don't feel great, but I think that's just how I am at the moment. Heart rate on the 9-minute rep there was, I think it maxed out about 148, which is probably right if I'm erring on the side of caution with the heart rate monitor. So looking at all the variables, the paces I hit today, I'll put them on the screen, should be a good kind of verification of sub-threshold pace for me, which is good. Right, let's jog home now, nice and easy. Get rested up, see if I can recover for Wednesday. I'm not easing down for it. It is a race in the NSRA, the local North Staffs Road Running Association series. but I'm just going to treat it as training. It's quite a tough course, 2-lap course with some hills, and yeah, it's just going to be a good training run. But I want to be reasonably fresh, so I'm doing nothing hard between now and then. But for me, recovering from even a reduced session like this lately is just really difficult, so I'm expecting tired legs on Wednesday. Right, thanks for joining. See you in the next video.